Hey, it's Courtney. I cannot wait to share this interview today by Christa. Christa's story is incredible, and this is perfect for anyone who is a mom and working a full-time job that wants to replace that income so that they can be home with their kids. Christa started eCom Babes in late 2019 after seeing no profits with her business, and within just a few short months of working with us, she was able to not only replace her income, but generate over $8,000 a month in sales. And this allowed her to leave her job and be home with her newborn son, because that was really one of her biggest motivations here. She wanted to be able to leave her corporate job and stay home with her newborn son, and she did just that. In this interview, she's going to talk about how joining eCom Babes was a really easy decision for her because she didn't consider herself to be too tech savvy, but her husband, on the other hand, was a bit skeptical. But at this point, his thoughts have changed, and he really respects the work that she does and the business that she runs. She's also going to talk about some of the mental shifts that she's made along the way and why she now believes that making money is easy. I'm really excited to share this story with you today because I know there's another mom out there watching this that just wants to be home with their kids just like Christa. She went from making no money with her side business, working a corporate job she didn't really like, to making over $8,000 a month with her business, all using the organic strategies we teach here. Yes, you heard that right. This girl made over $8,000 a month without spending a single dollar on advertising. So I'm really excited to just get right into it and have Christa share her story. So let's dive right in. So here we have Christa, and I'm so excited for Christa to share her story. She's such an awesome member in the community. She's so positive, and she's someone that you just love having around. Her energy is just so awesome, and she has done really big things. I'm super excited, Christa, for everyone to hear your story. You are such an inspiration. So how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you so much for having me on, Courtney. I'm excited to share just some of
Awesome.
the things that I've learned through you. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So to kind of kick things off here, why don't you touch on like where you were before you found eCom Babes? If you had your business up and running, what that experiences were like, just kind of like touch on that for us.
Yeah, totally. So I started my business like the summer before I found eCom Babes, and I had just taken my business on Shopify, but I had no idea what I was doing. So when I saw Courtney's ad for eCom Babes, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I need. Like, she's going to walk me through it. I'm not a super techie person. This is what I need. So yeah, I was like covering my costs because I do handmade goods, but I wasn't really seeing a profit that I could like take back from and like use as my income.
Cool. So now talk to us a little bit about like why you decided to join eCom Babes, and what is it that after that initial strategy session, what made you decide to go for it and invest in yourself?
Yeah, so I saw like what eCom Babes offered and how it walked you through things step by step and started you like even helping you with Shopify, and then doing like free organic methods of advertising just to get your product out there, but not having to spend on ads. But then it also had the option to teach you how to do ads. So for me, coming in with no experience doing online shops, I knew this is what I needed. And yeah, so I decided to go for it. I had a call with Courtney and I got off the phone with her and I told my husband, I was like, I think this is what I need to do. And he wasn't so sure, but I went for it, and I'm so glad I did because it helped me build my store the right way from the beginning. Like, I just set it up, so it helped me get a good foundation to go from, and then learn how to implement all the different things that then help me scale.
So and we'll touch on your success in a few minutes here, but you've seen some really good success so far. So how does your husband feel now that you're doing well? And before he was feeling a little skeptical, what are his thoughts now?
Yeah, so he is very excited about where I'm at right now, and he asked me like, oh, how's your business doing this month? Because he doesn't really get the online space. But yeah, he was definitely more on the skeptical side when we began, but now he's like very grateful for where we're at.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I know in previous conversations with you, you've talked about how prior to joining eCom Babes, you had just had your son, and a big goal for you was to not have to go back to work into like the corporate 9-to-5 space. So talk to us about that and your experiences and where you're at with that.
Yeah, so I had just had my son when I had started my business, and I was trying to like just make an income because we really wanted me to be able to stay at home with him, especially when he's little. And we were very tight financially. So I spent $60 to get my first inventory. And then I just kept growing it from there. Once I found eCom Babes, that's where I actually started to see a lot of growth online, because before that I was just local, and even trying to market locally online, it doesn't have the same effect. So yeah, as I began to scale, and it got to the point where it completely replaced my income that I'd had previously, it just gave us so much more freedom financially. And it's like exciting looking forward to the future, because like even when you're in a 9-to-5 job, you kind of have a cap. But when you're on online and you have your own business, there's no cap. Like you can continue scaling. And so the future's exciting, and it's not just like, it's not as burdensome as it used to be financially for us.
Yeah. So you're not going back to the 9-to-5 anymore.
No. Once you get a taste of it, you don't go back.
Yeah. So what were you, when you had been doing this on your own before eCom Babes, like what were your sales looking like then versus what's your success been so far?
Yeah. So before, I was lucky to have like a few $100s profit a month. I don't even think maybe I touched $1,000 one month just doing like local stuff and trying online. But it was not consistent and it was very slow. And then once I started implementing some of the organic strategies, I saw growth, and I hit $1,000 a month. Then I hit a couple thousand, and then I hit 8,000 one month, and I was like, okay, let's go. But consistently, I'm seeing about 4,000 to 5,000 right now.
Cool. And has that been with all organic? Have you started diving into paid ads? What does that look like?
So I tried ads without going through like the lesson plan, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm sticking with organic methods for right now because it's free and I'm seeing so much success with it. And so that's all, yeah, been organic.
Cool. So you got yourself up to the 8K per month without spending a dime on ads.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how did that feel? Like when you just started making this money and seeing success for yourself, how did that feel? What's been your favorite part?
My favorite part, I think just the idea that anything is possible and that you can always keep growing. And just like breaking through the beliefs of like, you have to do a certain 9-to-5 thing, or you have to do, what other people tell you to make money. Like if you're passionate about something and you see it being successful, and helping like make a difference in other people's lives, whether it's making them happier or, whatever your product or service does, I think it's just so rewarding. And you just feel, excited, I guess, is the word I do.
I think your like mental shift has been really cool, because I remember in one of our previous conversations, you sharing a story where you were like, yeah, I was talking to my mom and I was telling her like making money is easy. Like it doesn't have to be hard. And I think it's so cool that you have come to that realization on your own, and you've just like broken through the gate pretty much, and you're unstoppable now.
Yeah, I remember that specifically. Like it's such a big mental shift when you realize, especially as an entrepreneur, you're like, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Like even if I had to start over at zero, I wouldn't be back to where I was, because my mental game is like, no, I know making money is possible. I know it's not hard. You just have to trial and test things and learn and ask the right questions and keep going.
Yeah. Do you feel like anyone, because I know also in another conversation we had, you talked about, you were saying like, I feel like more people should be using these strategies. All different types of businesses should be using these strategies to like prove their concept, get sales coming through. So do you feel like pretty much anyone with no experience, or maybe they haven't built a business, can they pick up on these strategies and apply it? Like, how do you feel in regards to that?
Yeah, 100%. I think anybody can do this. Like I said, I'm not a techie person. I think if you follow the strategies and just trial and error, like what works for you. And eCom Babes has so much support. Like if you reach out, you guys are always there to help us. So I think anybody can really do it. I think the biggest thing is shifting your mindset, but you even talk about that in the course. And I wish I would have stuck with that consistently in the beginning, because I think if I would have seen success sooner. But where I'm at now, like all that mindset stuff that you go through in the beginning, that makes so much sense. And I'm actually like more there than I was when I started.
Yeah. So do you practice that stuff more often?
Yes, I do.
And so you like, is that when you started seeing the correlation in your sales kind of taking off?
Actually, yeah. Once I started making certain mindset set shifts, and I had to hear them a few different times from a few different people. But now that I think about where I'm at, I'm like, you know what? Courtney taught us this in the very beginning. If I had just listened to it, would have made it so much easier.
Yeah.
So if I would have been consistent with it too, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I was just talking to someone else about this recently too. Another student, Caitlin, actually, you know, Caitlin, she's in your little mastermind. And she was saying the same thing. She was like, the first time that I tried to go at this, I really didn't take the mindset work seriously. And the second time around, I took it seriously and it totally just changed the game for me. So I think it's cool that you recognize that.
Yeah, yeah, it's huge. If I could give beginners any advice, it's work on your mindset first and the rest will come.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So what's your vision for the future? Like, where do you plan to take your business to? What is that vision going to look like, let's say a year from now?
A year from now, I do want to be doing 6 or 7 figures. And actually, like this business kind of just started on a whim. So I think my long-term goal with it is to use it to launch other businesses, but also to support different passions that I have. I love traveling. I want a few more options for my son growing up. And I want to be able to give back to. I have different missions and organizations that I like to support. So this is like the groundwork for bigger things in the future, even.
Yeah, that's awesome. And can you touch a little bit too on the community and the support that we've given you so far? I know that you and a couple of the other members, you guys have connected and you've made some friends, developed a little mastermind. So how has the support in the community been helpful to you here?
That's huge, because especially as you start scaling, and even in the beginning stages of being an entrepreneur, like you can talk to your friends or your spouse, but they really don't understand the struggles and they don't understand how to give you advice or tips. So having the community and support from people who've been there, like you guys have been through so many different things and you can help us troubleshoot. And then this mastermind and the connections that we're making, like just hearing from other people what they're struggling with or how they've solved problems or even suggestions that they have is so helpful because like I said, you don't get that usually from your typical friend group. So having that support in that community is huge as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. And so with your business too, like you're at a point now where you're really starting to grow. I know you've like taken on some employees, some people on your team. So touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so that's a big shift too. Early on, and I think I've always seen this with other people that I've worked for in business, is they hold themselves back because they don't hire on when they get to a certain point, but they can't keep growing if they try and do everything. So I recognize that, like, gosh, if I'm going to keep growing, especially as a mom, I've got to get help. So hiring VAs, hiring people to do just like monotonous tasks, even on social media, even on my website, anything that will take extra time for me that somebody else can do is valuable now in order to keep scaling. And so as you hit those mile markers, like sometimes it doesn't feel like it makes sense, but if you know that you can put more time into an area that will help your business grow and have somebody else take something off your plate, it's been 100% worth it for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's like you're at a point now where this is really turning into just like a job income and like a side hustle to a real business where you have a team and your team is growing. And a year from now, you're probably going to have a massive team. So I think that's really cool to see.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's exciting for sure. It's
Yeah.
fun.
That's awesome. So let's say we have someone that wants to join eCom Babes and they're feeling a little bit skeptical, they're feeling a little bit nervous. What would your words of advice be for that person?
Honestly, if you want to do it right and you want to grow fast, like join eCom Babes because one, you have the step-by-step process. It's super like simple, but you also have support. So anytime you hit a wall or hit questions, you have somebody there to help you and walk you through that. And just the environment and the community for being able to celebrate with other people is huge in keeping you going too. So I would recommend, yeah, if you want to go faster and you want to actually scale your business, like just jump in. It's so worth it.
Yeah, That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know that someone else is going to look at this and see so much inspiration in you, just, being a full-time mom and then taking on this business and turning it into a real business. I mean, I know we talked about this before our call. Not many people can say they've ever even generated $8,000 a month in their life, which you've done it, and you're gonna continue to grow and scale. I know that part of the reason you couldn't continue on those 8K months was the demand was just too much, and you had to bring some people in, which is a really cool problem to have. So there is no doubt in my mind that we're not going to be jumping on here again in the next year with you sharing your 7-figure business. So I'm really excited for us to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cortney.